I'm Paul Farbaugh, joined by Charlie Washington to bring you tonight's men's IPFW action and Division II basketball. IPFW coming in here 18th in the nation. A couple of big home wins last week. Now they're back at home, but in between that time they had a road loss to Findlay College, and it was a 13-point loss, Charlie.
Well, that's a loss that people most feared. IPFW fans most feared, Paul. What you have two big wins. A big win against Southern Indiana, a bigger win against Wesleyan. We were 0-18 against those teams, and what you don't want is a letdown. Not saying that it was a letdown and not to take anything away from that Findlay team, but that can happen. The Wesleyan team, 0-18, you get a big win from them, and you may not be as up. I know they weren't as up as they were for a Kentucky Wesleyan team, and tonight we hope they won't be in the same situation with a 1-10 team in the conference. But hey, you can never look past this team because you have a tournament to look forward to.
Okay, Findlay comes in at 1-10 in the conference. Losers, 14 of the last 15 games. They only shoot 42% from the field and 58 from the free throw line, and they have one score in double digits, Charlie. Not a very strong team this year from Ashland.
But still, this is a game you have to win. Sometimes these are the hardest games to win. Those games that you are supposed to win sometimes can be the toughest games for you. So the Dons cannot take this team lightly, have to get them down early, keep them down, and don't let this team, a young team, gain any confidence.
Okay, IPFW is still sitting here in second place. We're going to be back with the action right after this brief timeout.
Mr. Wong.
These are teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes.
My hero?
Mrs. Wooten. If I don't get through to that child, who knows, maybe no one else will.
Teachers have the power to wake up young minds, to be heroes, to make a difference. Reach for that power. Teach. Find out how by calling 1-800-45-TEACH. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
What comes to your mind when you think about mathematics? Clowns, street sweepers, the Red Sox, robots, the weather, earthquakes, Disney World, pineapples, conventions, parking tickets, fishing? If these practical applications of contemporary mathematics didn't make your list, you should watch Public Television's math series For All Practical Purposes.
You made it! Hey, I couldn't have gotten through physics without you.
Yeah, well, you're on your own at college.
It's not fair.
That's all right. I'm going to get a job, I'm going to start working, I'm going to save. And I'll be in college in another year or two.
So, what do you have planned, Mike?
I think I'm going to go home and make a sandwich. Okay.
Support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Back at the Hilliard Gate Sports Center, getting set for the starting lineups here. Eric Hoy is the public address announcer. Let's go to him now.
Number 50, Mark Mueller. And at center, a 6'6" freshman from Alliance, Ohio, number 54, Joey Blair. Head coach of the Eagles is Terry Wiggin. And now for our IPFW Mastodons. And one guard, a 6'4" senior from Floyd Knobs, Indiana, number 20, Andrew Lieber. And the other guard, a 5'9" sophomore from Hammond, Indiana, number 21, Russ Marsnick. And a forward, a 6'5" senior from Lanesville, Indiana, number 24, Shane Gibson. In the middle for the Mastodons, a 6'8" senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 44, Dandy Doug Reinke. And at the other forward, a 6'7" senior from Lanesville, Indiana, number 41, Sean Gibson. Head coach of the Mastodons is Andy Piazza. He is assisted by Dick Dumanian.
Okay, we're going to take a timeout and be right back and get you up to date on the starting lineups one more time right after this brief timeout.
Vince, come on, we're late. This headbag is more fun than going through a windshield.
Good night from Iron Maiden. Drive home safe. Remember to strap yourselves in with your safety belts. You don't want to end up like Eddie. Belt up. Don't be a dummy.
Bonjour. French in Action, opening a new era in language learning. A television course in 52 lessons centers around a wonderful romantic comedy filmed entirely on location in France. The story of Mireille, Robert, Marie-Laure, and the mysterious man in black will help you to learn, to understand,
Excusez-moi.
and to speak French. Watch French in Action.
After dating the guy forever, you think I could tell him anything. Why is this so hard? I'm really scared.
It takes a lot of guts to tell someone he's too drunk to drive. But you can do it. Just say it. Because if you don't, there may be nothing left to say.
Kevin, I'm gonna drive.
Take the keys, call a cab, take a stand. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
And we're just getting ready for the opening tip-off here tonight. Ashland comes in at 3-17, 1-10 overall in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. They are sitting on the bottom. Their starting lineup, number 24 is Chris Royer. Number 22, Bill Harvey. Number 54 is Joey Blair. Number 40, Chris Gates. And number 34, Tom Scholl, if you didn't catch that when we broke in.
And before we read you IPFW's lineup, we want you to know that this College Cable Access sports presentation is underwritten in part by a grant from College Cable Access Incorporated of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay, we'll get to IPFW's lineup as we go along. That time it looked like Doug Reiking quick jumped the ball. Ashland will take the ball. Out of bounds. It's Tom Scholl inbounding to Bill Harvey. Harvey is 6'3" junior out of Akron, Ohio. Sean Gibson, his first rebound of the game.
First of many, I'm sure.
Need a strong performance in that loss to Finley. Liebert getting a start tonight. Hits a 3 to start off for IPFW. 3-0 out quickly.
Starting lineup looks pretty familiar except for one glaring difference, and that's Russ Marsnick starting in place of Andre Walton.
Reiking gets his hand on the ball that time, down low.
I think he got a hand on the second.
Shane pulls out of there with his first rebound of the game. Up court quickly now, IPFW. Reiking on the wing. Let's Fly with a bad shot. Not exactly in his repertoire. Might have been about 2 or 3 steps outside his range. Ashland coming back quickly. A 3 that time by Chris Royer. 6-foot junior guard out of Ohio, Orville, Ohio.
Royer's a good player. He played on those really good Ashland teams of the past 2 years.
IPFW struggled with those Ashland teams the past 2 years. A very tough team to beat at home this year. IPFW beat them by 20 earlier in the season. Ranking inside with the over-the-shoulder semi-hook shot doesn't go. That's Bill Harvey now, locked up at threes. 2 threes coming quickly. Both teams that time, nice inside look. Tom Scholl, 12 points a game. He's the leading scorer for Ashland, has his first 2 of the night.
This is a team that's first 3 minutes that are very important, Paul. This IPFW Mastodons can't let this Ashland team, young Ashland team, 1-10 in the conference Ashland team, gain any type of confidence, because we know what can happen when a team gains confidence, young or veteran.
Time Ranking misses inside, but it is off an Ashland player. Will be IPFW ball.
Doug having a fairly hard time to go of it so far.
Still trying to find the range, has missed his first 3 shots. Now outside to the All-American candidate, Sean Gibson. Mentioned earlier, Andre Walton, the normal starter for IPFW. I believe number 5 on the all-time assist list here. On the bench in the early going.
And leading the GLVC in assists, 18th in the nation this year.
Ashland now bringing the ball down, up 5-3. That time off Joey Blair, 6'6" center. He's a freshman. And as we mentioned earlier, Ashland, the team starting 2 freshmen tonight. The team loaded with freshmen. 3 are out currently with injuries. So this is a young team.
And I'd say there's a need for concern. Although they've missed a lot of layups, they've gotten good looks at the basket.
Playing tough man-to-man now. Ranking with the ball outside to Shane. Wants to get it inside. There's going to be a foul that time. Mark Bueller picks up the foul. 6'5" senior out of Cincinnati, number 50. There's a good look at him. That's team first foul. That's also Mueller.
This whole Ashland team hails from somewhere in Ohio.
Gibson down on the block now. Fadeaway jumper doesn't go. Pulled out of there by Chris Royer now. Wants to work it up floor. Been stuck on 5-3 for a while. Ashland with the lead. Royer now in trouble. Gibson steps in front. It could be lookout time. Gibson picks up his first 2. One of the foul called there. Tied at 5 now. IPFW extending the man-to-man.
That was a good steal by Gibson and probably a better finish.
Royer inside the paint. Easy shot once again. Misses. Going to go back up again. This time Shane Gibson picks up the first foul. Going to have a substitution for IPFW. Tom Patterson coming in. Andy Liebert coming out, and there's Andre Walden coming in. Shane Gibson will get a rest, so IPFW going to the bench early. Just a little over 3.5 minutes into this contest, tied at 5.
And the tempo right now most definitely favors this Ashland Eagle team. The Dons need to stretch this out a little bit more, get into a running game.
Ashland comes in averaging only 67 points a game, giving up 84. That's going to be a 3-point attempt there. 3 free throws coming. Russ Markin picks up the foul.
And for those fans who may think you're crazy, Paul, by thinking someone gets 3 free throws, that is a new rule instituted. I think on last year, when a player gets fouled shooting a 3-point shot, there are 3 free throws given instead of 2.
And one of the reasons that is done is to take away from teams fouling the other squad in the late going. If a team is down by 3 points, you foul a man, they only give him 2 free throws. Well, that's pretty good strategy.
Exactly.
It's the first. Shane Gibson trying to buy one there. The official's going to say there's another one coming.
Sean's not used to 3 free throws.
No, Sean doesn't do his damage from the outside all that much. He normally works it down inside. So Harvey hits 2 of 3. It's now 7-5 Ashland. IPFW going with 2 small guards now, working the outside. Ty Marcinek called on the out of bounds line. Only the second turnover for IPFW. It's Harvey now working. Mueller back to Harvey now, looking inside. That's got to be a pretty good matchup for Ashland right there. Walton goes about 5'8".
But I tell you what, Paul, Andre Walton's a ton inside.
Gibson steps another pass that time.
And he's second in the league in steals, and he's got his 2 per already.
Couldn't get that one out that time. Expected a big finish. Got it from Gibson. Inside. Blocked away that time by Reinking. Royer now working.
And Doug's got his 2 per on the steal scene already, early going.
Gibson goes for another one. Inside now. This is Royal, double timed. Wants to get a shot off. Splits the defenders. Poor looking shot. Comes out of there. Rebounded by Harvey now. He loads up the 3-10-7 Ashland, and IPFW did some good things that time on the defensive end, but just didn't come up with a rebound.
Well, you can't give a team 3 or 4 shots at the basket. Even a bad team is going to hit 1 out of 3.
Time Patterson in off the bench, loads up for a 3. The game tied at 10 apiece. Patterson's first shot.
And I'm sure Tom earned the minutes he's getting early Wednesday night.
Ashland head coach Terry Wygant going to take a timeout. He's only a second-year coach here. Team perhaps looking a little fatigued. We're tied in the early going, 10-10. This college cable access program guide provides information about our programming, including IPFW sports telecast. To receive your free Channel 6 program guide, send your name, address, and zip code to Channel 6 at IPFW. It's 2101 Coliseum Boulevard East, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Zip 46805. Or you can give us a call at 481-6582. Still quite a few volleyball telecasts to come up here. Basketball season winding down. So there's still a few more sporting events brought to you live by the Channel 6 staff out here.
The sports program here has just been tremendous and grown over the years, and it's great to see being part of it and seeing it grow personally. I'm very elated to see this happen.
The IPFW women won in an earlier contest against Ashland tonight. A team that has been struggling with only 8 players pulled out a double-digit win.
And that's a team that's going to be pretty good. You get some good recruits that come in next year, and you got a big recruit coming back next year. Pam Batward's a leading rebounder and top scorer coming back, so she'll be a great asset. Come back next year.
I believe she tore an Achilles tendon just before the start of the season, so she'll have a redshirt year and be back. And we're back to action right now. It is 10-10, a little surprising for Ashland. You mentioned earlier they only shoot 42% from the field, but have 2 early threes the first 5.5 minutes here, and getting several easy shots inside.
Scott Simmons now into the ball game.
For Ashland, number 44, John Boyanovich in as well. That's Harvey now out on top. Good step in. Patterson, Walton on the break. Back to Patterson now. They're going to call a charge on Patterson that time, and the spacing wasn't just quite there that time.
Well, it's a good-looking break, and you like to see what you do like to see there is that time Simmons hit the trailer, and you love to see when people run that lane for you. You love to reward them, and plus he was the one who caused the steal in the first place. But unfortunately, he got a charge.
Ashland breaks the pressure easily.
That bucket did not count. I'm not sure if it went in, but even if it did go in, it does not count on the charge.
It's a new player for Ashland now, stroking. Jason Workman, he's a freshman. He's only 5'11". As we mentioned, this team is loaded with a lot of young players. They should be tough in the coming years. Now outside, IPFW spreads the offense. Trying to work the ball inside to Gibson. Patterson. Now inside, Reinking can't handle the ball. That was off of 44, Voinovich. IPFW ball trailing 12-10.
It's ironic, Paul, that you mentioned in a couple of years. Most teams run in cycles. They're young, they rebuild, and then they get to that point where they're a very tough team. And Ashland had a pretty short cycle. They had 2 years that they were very much in the elite teams in the GLVC and also in the country, being ranked number 1 and 3 for a lot of last season. But their cycle ran very short, a 2-year cycle, and the Dons have ran a good cycle for the last 3 or 4 years.
The ideal program probably in this conference is Kentucky Wesleyan, consistently up in the upper division of the rankings and have a national championship as well. Maybe more than one, I'm not exactly sure.
They've won about 6 of them. Recently in 90 and 87, I think they're most recent.
Patterson pulls down the rebound. Walton looking to push it up floor now. 3 attempt good that time, raining in. Scott Simmons. That's his first 3.
Scott has great form on that jump shot.
Knocks it away from Workman now. Workman working on Simmons. Walton all over Royer. Inside that time, Reinke tried to step out, and his man got around him that time. Reinke picks up the foul. That is the 4th team foul on IPFW. Ashland only has 1. And going to the line will be Mark Mueller.
Dons are playing the lanes very tough, and when I say lanes, they're playing the passing lanes. Sean Gibson 2 steals, Scott Simmons with a near steal, Andre Walton with the tip away, Patterson with his tip away. Playing the lanes very tough tonight.
Mueller hits the first, tied at 13 now, has another one. Gets the second now. Ashland on top, 14-3.
14-13.
14-13. That would be nice if it was 14-3, but it is 14-13. Simmons now out top. Patterson. Gibson thought about it. Inside Simmons. Time Patterson, weak side rebound. Has 5 points now. And it's back to a 1-point IPFW lead.
Patterson has played well since coming into the ball game. And another steal by Gibson.
Gibson now looking to take it all the way. That time they're going to call a block on Workman.
And Sean has got his 3rd steal in 8 minutes.
I think when Sean gets that much steam up, you can't really stop him or expect him to pass the ball.
No, and most players have found it very difficult to get a charge when you're going one-on-one because the offensive players have gotten so smart and so elusive in going to the basket, they can avoid those fouls, and in most cases, like you just saw, come up with the blocking foul.
Time Gibson did slice away to his right side. 2 free throws, hits the first. 5 points for Gibson now. Gets the second. It is now a 3-point lead, 17-14. Just over 8 minutes into the first half. This is Workman working on Simmons now. 2-man game, runs it back to Voinovich. Once again, another IPFW player getting a hand on the ball in the passing lane.
And it's obvious Workman, the 5'11 freshman out of Cleveland, Ohio, is having trouble bringing the ball up against Scott Simmons. Scott playing very sticky defense, and Workman comes out of the ball game. But Scholl won't be much of a point guard. Wouldn't be much of a challenge for Simmons bringing the ball up the court, so I'm sure someone else will from this point.
Royer is going to take over the ball handling chores, and this time can't get it inbounds, calls a timeout. We're going to take a break here, too. It's 17-14 with 11:46 to go in the first half. IPFW on top. Channel 6 is accepting applications for the underwriting of televising IPFW sports events and other programs. For more information about how your business or organization can utilize this opportunity, call the Channel 6 office during business hours. That's at 481-6582.
And I'm assuming business hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Good point. Well, IPFW was not in business early on here. Ashland came out early, took a 5-3 lead. We see him stuck on that for a long time. Not very indicative of a team who shoots only 42% from the field. 3 wins overall. They're getting a lot of easy shots inside.
A lot of easy shots. They're missing a lot of shots, but they're getting, early on, they were getting about 3 cracks per attempt at the basket. The Dons weren't blocking out. They were getting their hands on balls, but the Ashland Eagles were getting the ball back and putting it back in. Weren't getting very good shots, and they weren't going down, but they're good looks at the basket.
Right, we should mention IPFW is without John Honstreiter, who has, I believe, a badly injured ankle. I'm not sure exactly what the prognosis is. It says at least out for the remainder of the regular season right now. Could get a possible look in the Division II tournament if IPFW should advance that far. Now Pat Murphy in the game.
Well, Paul, I'll tell you something about John. I bet John thinks he's going to get back in there. He's going to do everything in his power to get back in there before this season ends, the regular season, that is. Gibson with another steal. That's 4.
Nice turnaround dribble that time by Walton. Takes it coast to coast.
All of that caused by the steal, the step-in steal by Sean Gibson.
And IPFW does like that transition offense whenever they can get it. It does open up their outside game. Gibson almost had another one. That time Voinovich, excited that Gibson was out of the way, rushed a pass inside, turnover. Ashland once again. That's Joey Blair coming in. Voinovich is going to get a rest after that turnover.
What that did right there, Sean Gibson did not get the steal, but it was a big man out front. He caused much disruption. The big man, he knew Gibson had passed, so he thought he had an opening lane to the basket, and then it closed up very quickly with the Don teammates helping Gibson out.
Now Gibson on the post, spots Murphy inside. Good pump fake. In and off the glass. First 2 for Pat Murphy, 21-14 now IPFW. And Bill Harvey doing the ball handling chores now. Royer outside. Now back to Harvey. Swing it to Scholl. Leading scorer for Ashland at 12 a game. That time, Walton steps in front of a pass. He's got good speed. Second transition layup by Andre Walton, 23-14, and all of a sudden IPFW jumping out to a big lead. It was 15-14 at one point, actually 14-3, and Ashland lead, a 1-point lead at one point. Another steal, Walton with a pump fake and the foul.
And right now, Paul, it's very obvious. This Ashland Eagle team does not have a true point guard. And from the last few times down the court, they don't even have a pretty good point guard, much less a true point guard. And that's going to cause them trouble and will cause them trouble the rest of this season as it has caused them thus far.
And one of the reasons IPFW has been so solid this season is the man at the line right now, Andre Walton. 5th point of the ball game there. There's a young coach for Ashland, that's Terry Wiegand. 2nd year, he's 24-24 overall at Ashland.
And that's very important too. Not so much your point guard, but the person who's going to be handling the ball and making those major decisions with the basketball. For a lot of teams, it's not actually the point guard. The Chicago Bulls, for instance, NBA champions for the last 2 years, Scottie Pippen, one of their forwards, is more or less their major decision maker.
That time IPFW getting the hands on the ball again. But IPFW really has about 3 interchangeable guards that can run out there. Russ Marcinek coming in. He got the starting nod tonight over Andre Walton.
At any point in time, you can put Marcinek out there, you can put Walton out there, and you can put Jeff Smithy out there, 3-point guards.
This is Royer on Walton. Rims out, Walton, smallest player on the floor, rebound, here it is.
And Sean Gibson, I can say, knows how to dunk. When you dunk the basketball, you got to get the legs going, you got to get, Sean gets out there, he grabs the rim, shakes it, pulls it, legs go everywhere. That's the way you dunk the basketball.
Bill Harvey tries to answer now, rebounded out of there. Ashland has it.
Our producer Greg Smith says he would like to see Sean Gibson do the Shaq attack, tearing the rim down.
We'll try and pass that on to him.
That was amazing. Well, we don't have those kinds of rims. If he can tear this rim down, he's doing something. He's going to bring down rafters if he can tear the rim down. The rim's attached to everything that goes to the rafters.
Scott Simmons coming out, Shane Gibson in the game. Andre Walton picked up that first foul. And then people, we really would need your contributions here at IPFW. Because those supports, the one Shaquille O'Neal took down, cost about $15,000 a shot, so it wouldn't be cheap if Gibson could do one of those jobs. Different support here, though. Gibson, 2 early dunks, 7 points in the early going, and it's a 13-0 run by IPFW. They're out to a 26-14 lead here. Just over 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Walton inside, Murphy. Good move inside. Murphy doesn't get it to fall. Pulled out of there by Ashland. This is Bill Harvey working it up court now. And the game is Lester Reese. He's a freshman also, number 32. Harvey wants to swing it down low. Good position that time. Gibson gets a hand on the ball. Shane does. Walton looking to push. That's a 3. Doesn't go.
And the Don steal per game average is going to go way up after tonight. They have a ton already.
Inside. That time blocked away by Gibson on Blair.
And Sean Gibson's just out there having fun, Paul.
That time rimming doesn't go. Blair comes down with the board. Ashland has the numbers. Workman, though, doesn't force it, takes a 3 instead. Harvey unloads a 3. And now Walton wisely slows it up. As soon as I say that, the Ashland defense falls asleep. Down at the other end now.
Another steal. And Paul, I think we're going to see action from all 12 IPFW Mastodons, or if we have that many in uniform tonight. However many in uniform are going to see action.
Murphy with a good spin inside, going to be called for a walk though. And here comes a substitution right now. Ranking in, and Andy Lieber coming in. Walton going to get a break. And Pat Murphy's going to come out. When we come back after this timeout here, it is 28-14, IPFW in the lead. And just over 6.5 minutes to go.
And the Dons right now are on a 15-0 run.
Well, you too can join in the excitement of IPFW athletics by participating in the Royal Dons Club. The Royal Dons Club is the official booster club for all IPFW athletic teams. Members enjoy priority seating at all IPFW sporting events, food and refreshments in the hospitality room, admission to IPFW sports media luncheons, and associations with other Mastodon supporters. There are more benefits than that. There's more information available if you can call Lisa Moreland. That's a number there, 481-6027. There are also items available with IPFW logos on them. And a good crowd out here tonight for a Purdue basketball game being on TV.
There are a lot of factors going against the crowd here tonight. There's, first of all, it's Valentine's Day, or the Saturday before Valentine's Day. The last Saturday, you can do something before that. As we get ready to see a replay here, I think. There we go. They call the travel, I think, on Pat Murphy.
Changed his pivot foot there.
As I was saying, the weather is not all that cooperative, or hasn't been the last couple of days. So some fans may have stayed at home because of that in Purdue basketball. And again, Valentine's Day. But you see Coach Andy Piazza of the Dons.
Done a good job this season. IPFW 16-4 overall, ranked 18th in the nation. They didn't pass Southern Indiana or Kentucky Wesleyan in the polls, but both of them came back to IPFW. They are inching closer. A crowd about 500 out here tonight. Watching IPFW. Lady Dons winners in the earlier contest tonight. Good man defense by Murphy. Got to be careful not to pick up a foul.
And just as you say, he better be careful not to pick up a foul. He does by sticking out the chest. Great defense, but what you have to do is stand straight up and not stick that chest out. That's how a lot of players get fouls called on them on the offensive end and the defensive end, by sticking their chest out.
And you see Pat Murphy there trying to buy a call with the official going, I just stuck, straight up. Didn't get a call though. Another
near steal.
Workman now back over
another
the timeline.
Near steal.
That time they're going to call a foul on Marcinick that time for the reach around. It's a team 7, so it'll be a 1-and-1 opportunity now. Ashland going to be in the bonus the rest of the way. 6:27.
And actually, that could have been an offensive foul on the wraparound by Workman that time. Good defense, I thought, by Marcinick.
Workman pushing away with the right hand. Might have had Numbo in there also.
A couple.
But he'll get a chance here to break into that 15-0 run by IPFW. Can't get it to fall. Here comes Workman, leading now. Liebert stepped on the line, tried to bounce it off an Ashland player. Caught the end line though. Going to have a substitution for IPFW. Tom Patterson coming back in.
Andy Liebert made some great statements in a post-game interview where basically everybody on the team got a chance to say something, but he said some very important things. The reason that the Dons are so tough this year is everyone accepts their role and is just out there having fun and just wants to win and will do whatever it takes to win. Very mature statement, of course, coming from a very mature man.
Now inside Ashland, looking to go down low again. This is Royer out on top, wants to get it inside to Blair. Ranking fronts him inside. Blair, good step around, gets his own rebound. Pounding the boards, but Gibson pulls out of there. Bounces it off a player. Heady play. Gibson still alive. Walton now has the numbers. 3-on-2. Murphy outside. Shane Gibson now.
Again, Ashland got a lot of looks at the bucket, but come up with nothing.
Stuck on 28-14 that time, and I don't know if you saw it, Charlie, but Gibson bounced it off an Ashland player to regain control.
No, I didn't see that.
Patterson inside with the air ball, might have gotten blocked. Chris Royer now penetrating inside the lane, blocked out of there by Ranking. Murphy pulls down with the board, but catches an end line.
Ranky, I think, with his 3rd block. Everybody padding his stats tonight early on here for the Dons.
Time Murphy going, scratch at Ranking going.
That's a missed assignment. That's a good cut by Royer, but someone has to be there to help.
IPFW now leading by 12. This is Ranking now over to Shane Gibson. To 3. Shane Gibson gets on the board now. His first points. It's 31-16 now. Just over 4.5 to go here in the first half. Workman that time got Patterson on his hip and draws the foul. He'll be going to the line for 2.
I see a lot of players doing what Workman just did, Paul. I'm not sure I like it. What you do is you sell out for the foul. You lose concentration and just concentrate on the contact. As you see him coming up right there, he didn't pay too much attention to the rim, and it almost went in, but he just played for the contact as opposed to going straight up and keeping his concentration on the rim. A lot of players at all levels do that.
This is the first one. That time you could see Workman just turned his head a little bit, felt where Patterson was, and sort of leaned into him a little bit.
And the worst thing that comes out of that is you don't know. The referee may not call that foul, and you don't get a good look at the basket.
It's the second, though. Now a 14-point lead for IPFW. Scott Simmons coming in. Patterson will get a rest. This is Ranking now, wants to work it inside to Gibson. Simmons a long 3. Ashland coach Terry Wiegand says you got to get out there on him. IPFW dangerous from three-point range. They have a number of people who can shoot it from out there. Inside now. Royer wants to work it back inside to Mueller. Going baseline, hand check that time called on Simmons. No, a push off. Chris Royer. Oh, Mark Mueller picks up the foul.
Yeah, call for clearing out that time. Yeah, that's clear out.
Playing an elbow in the chest of Doug Reinking.
And the reason for any young players that got a chance to see that replay, what he did was he straightened his arm. If he keeps that arm bent, that's not a foul. But once you straighten it out, you're going to get a foul all the time.
Cutting Andre Walton through the lane. Another missed defensive assignment for Ashland. 36-17 now. Harvey breaks the pressure that time. That will be Ashland ball off Shane Gibson. Joey Blair coming in the game. Mueller's going to take a seat for Ashland.
A big reason this Ashland team, it's very obviously to see for any true basketball fans, their turnover ratio to their assist ratio is just putrid.
Tom Scholl hits a three-point basket. He only has 5 points now. Leading scorer for Ashland. When we don't have a point guard, it's hard to get in that offense. You have other people handling the ball that wouldn't normally be handling the ball in a passing situation for an assist. Very difficult for a young team. Walton strokes the three.
Not known for his shooting prowess, he looked very good taking a three-pointer that time.
4 IPFW players have now stroked threes. This time Workman in on Walton. Gibson is going to pick up the foul. Team foul number 9, so the next one will be a 2-shot.
My high school coach taught me a lot about basketball, Carl Treikoff, and a lot of what he did was he taught me about offensive efficiency ratings and defensive efficiency ratings. I'm still not sure. This is in high school. I'm still not sure exactly of how you figure that out, but it has a lot to do with assist to turnover ratios, and that's very important. When you look at someone's assist to their turnover ratio, you'll tell if they're a good basketball team or not.
Joey Blair misses the first of a 1-and-1. Now Walton up quickly. Simmons hits the three and is going to get a chance at the 4-point play. Well, for a point guard, getting back to that point, Charlie, a point guard, anytime he has a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio is considered fairly good. Bobby Hurley works on a 3-to-1 above that 3-to-1 assist ratio.
Exactly. And again, it doesn't have to be your point guard, but again, a person who's going to be making decisions on a fast break or at any particular situation, bringing the ball up the court and having to make those types of decisions. Who to pass it to, when to get it to certain players in certain positions, what works best for them, as we see Simmons completing the 4-point play.
43-20 now, IPFW out on a big run. 13-6. Shane Gibson now out of the lineup. Number 12, Tony Martin, getting his first action of the night for IPFW.
Joey Blair is very active underneath and is going to be a good ball player if he continues to work hard. Very active underneath and has gotten his hands on a lot of basketballs tonight.
Well, we've seen 4 freshmen get extensive playing time here for Ashland tonight. Blair is one of them. 6'6" center. This is now Gibson over to Reinking. Probably should have taken that ball straight up when he got it.
Sure. That was a baseball pass in the truest of senses that time from Gibson to Reinking.
Reinking couldn't hang on to the fastball. That time Walton gets his hand on it. Even though the game is slowly paced, we have not had a problem with the shot clock tonight. There's been no real instance of Ashland working the clock down to the final seconds. So pace working in favor of IPFW tonight. Here's Royer penetrating. Good dish off that time. Blair couldn't handle it. Simmons after it. Good hustle that time by Simmons. Out of bounds on Ashland.
And it's an adventure every time a national player puts the ball on the floor. There's just not a lot of confidence in their ball handling as a team.
This is Simmons one more time, doesn't get it. Royer comes out of there with the board. It's 43-22 IPFW. Once again, IPFW getting a hand on the ball.
And that's how you keep your minutes up by what Scott Simmons is doing right now. He just went flat out like he was diving for a fly ball in center field and got a hand on that ball. Couldn't grab it, but just got a hand on it.
Second trip down the floor that he has come up with a little floor burn action.
And again, that's how you keep the minutes up. Young people, get on that floor.
This is Army outside now. IPFW extending the man-to-man. This is Voinovich from 18, doesn't get to go inside. Time Martin pulls out of there with the board, and junior Eric Rush got a little too far underneath the basket, tried to throw it up through the cylinder and back down.
Good rebound and went up strong. But I haven't seen that in a long time. You couldn't really see on the replay there. He hit the bottom of the rim.
He picks up the foul. That is team foul number 6 for Ashland. There's only a minute to go.
And they call that the frustration foul.
13-second differential on the shot clock now. Waiting for IPFW is Tom Mowat, number 42. This is Martin's first shot. This is Royer now. Ashland content to work the clock down. Shot clock is off. 20 seconds remaining here in the first half.
As we see the clock running down, Tony Martin made a great move. I don't know how many teams in the country in Division II have the luxury of having a Tony Martin as their 8th, 9th, or 10th man. And it looks like he'd be the star of this Ashland team for sure.
That time, good move by Royer inside to Blair to beat the buzzer. That cuts the IPFW lead to 21. It's 45-24 here in the first half. We're going to step aside here at halftime. Come back with the scoring stats for you right after this 10-minute halftime.
We conclude our show with a trip to Upper New York State for canoeing in the Adirondacks.
Bill and Lisa set out this morning from their home in Connecticut. They and their canoe have traveled almost 300 miles to northern New York State's Franklin County. Their destination is a secluded island campsite on Upper Saranac Lake in the heart of the Adirondack Mountains. After a series of superhighways and scenic country roads, one last leg of the journey remains. It will be the most pleasant part of the trip, paddling on the beautiful interconnecting water system of lakes, streams, and rivers of the Adirondack Park. Local folklore is a little vague on just who first started using the water system as a principal means of travel, but it is known that it was long a favorite summer hunting and fishing ground of the Iroquois Nation. From their homes in what is now the Mohawk Valley, it is believed they traveled annually to the Saranac area via the Fulton Chain, Long Lake, and Racket River route. Of course, at the time of those early visitors, there was no state of New York to build convenient boat launch sites, as now exist along the system. Access was at any point possible, and for canoe trips, this for the most part is the case even today. Hundreds of years have passed since the Indian first traveled these waterways, but they remain largely unchanged. The natural wilderness, beauty, and wildlife are a magnificent constant in a rapidly changing world. Since much of the system passes through state-owned land, camping is permitted on most shorelines and islands. The campsites are open to everyone on a first-come, first-served basis. Many of the more popular locations have lean-tos on them, but everyone should have a tent as part of their equipment. These beautiful blue lakes are stocked annually with trout, walleye, and salmon. Some of the best fishing in the Northeast is just a few feet from most campsites. Chapter 1 of the Camper's Gourmet Cookbook says fresh trout is their premier evening meal. The beautiful sunset is optional, although recommended. More room than a canoe, yet light and easy to carry, the guide boat was developed by early hunters and trappers. It remains an enjoyable and practical method of transportation throughout the water system. By way of tribute, and to preserve this Adirondack tradition, the Saranac Lake Chamber of Commerce holds the Willard Hamner Memorial Guide Boat Races each 4th of July. Warm water and cool night air creates a setting that can surpass a child's fantasy of a perfect natural setting. Surely a canoer was the author of A Picture is Worth 1,000 Words. Throughout the system, great care has been taken to preserve the natural environment. Evidence of man's intrusion is kept to an absolute minimum. However, in the specific case of the locks, a little engineering and construction seemed appropriate. Two sets of locks located a few miles apart in the Saranac Lake region allow uninterrupted travel for canoe and powerboats to several parts of the interconnecting water system. These two locks are maintained by the state of New York and are operated from late May to late October. Not only is the scenery beautiful, but the sandy shoreline areas that surround the waters are the most private and least crowded beaches in the state of New York. You can stay as long as you want, or never leave. Many of Franklin County's first settlers were the rough, tough lumberjacks who started an industry that still thrives in the forests of northern New York. The water system was an integral part of that industry. The Tupper Lake Woodsman's Weekend is an annual summer event that allows these men and their families to get together. Skills developed from years of lumbering are put to the test. It's all pretty serious and great fun to watch. To travel any great distance via the water system, periodic carries will have to be made. For the most part, they are short, a few hundred yards at most. However, they can be up to a mile in some areas. Often the portages are through lush green forest, carpeted with wild fern, adding a pleasant contrast to the deep blue lakes. Almost at the crossroads of the system is St. Regis Lake, and it's home for a very special group of sailboats. They are called Items. An original 12 were built in 1890, and they have never left St. Regis Lake. Constructed with a mahogany exterior to absolute identical specifications, they were intended to test the skills of their captain and crews under conditions as ideal as possible. 32 feet long, with 650 square feet of sail, they race every Tuesday and Saturday of August. One of the Adirondacks' oldest traditions, only World War II interrupted this beautiful annual occasion. With the distinction of participating in the longest canoe race in the eastern United States, racers leave the beach in Old Forge, New York for a 90-mile, 3-day trek to Saranac Lake. It's the start of the annual Adirondack Canoe Classic, 3 days on the interconnecting water system. Contestants range from world-class ability to mother-daughter novices. The race is a trip along the southwest-northeast route of the system, virtually the same as that traveled by the Iroquois hundreds of years ago. Racing during the day, camping out together at night, a big celebration awaits them at the end. Held in mid-September, it has come to mark the water system's changeover from summer to the warm, beautiful days of fall. Returning to the mountains becomes a regular occasion for most first-time visitors. The flaming leaves of fall dress Franklin County in its Sunday best. There are several ways to see the area at this wonderful time, but the ones requiring a little extra effort are also the most rewarding. A hike up one of the high peaks and the exhilarating feeling of a view from the top is an autumn must. Most travelers and visitors who arrive in the county, either on or off the water system, soon learn about the great camps of the Adirondacks. The finest of which, Top Ridge, the Marjorie Merriweather Post Summer Camp, is open for public visits. It is a fabulous example of the rustic splendor that characterized the great camps. It houses fine examples of Mrs. Post's eclectic collections, Indian artifacts, furs, and animal skins from around the world. Fall is a quiet time. The secluded ponds and waterways, wrapped with color, invite exploration. So many lakes yet to discover, so many fish to catch, so many friends to visit.
Westgate Sports Center for second half action. It's 45-24, IPFW leading Ashland University right now. Have some first half stats for you. For IPFW, Andre Walton is tied with Scott Simmons for leading scoring. Both have 10 apiece. Sean Gibson chipped in 8. Tom Patterson had 5. Pat Murphy 4. And Andy Liebert and Shane Gibson both had 3-point field goals for IPFW in that first half.
And there's one stat maybe we need to check. Doug Ranke, 6 assists.
They're pretty liberal if they're giving him 6 assists. Andre Walton is listed with 4 right now. One thing that sticks out, IPFW 5 turnovers and Ashland 13 turnovers.
Again, I stated a little earlier something, my high school coach, Carl Treikoff, taught me something about the game. If you cut down the turnovers and get the assist up, you're going to win some basketball games. Called offensive efficiency ratings. I'm not sure exactly how you do it, but it has a lot to do with assists versus turnovers. The Dons, 5 turnovers, 11 assists. Ashland, 4 assists, 13 turnovers. You're not going to win games like that. You can't. You have to take care of the basketball. You have to get looks at the basket. And right now, Ashland is not getting some looks because they're turning the ball over. At least get a shot. If you get a shot, you have a chance for an offensive rebound. It goes up there on the rim, and as we've seen, Ashland has a lot of offensive rebounds. But on the other hand, as you see, they led there 23-14, I think it was, before it went away. You get a lot of shots, but turning the ball over has really hurt them tonight.
Well, Ashland right now is shooting only 28% from the field, 8 of 29, so we'll look for that to step up. Hey, this College Cable Access Sports presentation is underwritten in part by a grant from College Cable Access Incorporated, Cable Access Incorporated, Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we're happy to have them aboard tonight.
Big game for the Dons, a big game after a letdown, so to speak, on Wednesday evening. They got beat by very good NAIA school, Findlay College out of Ohio. But still, you have to come back here tonight. Ashland, not one of the better teams this year in the GLVC, but you got to put that all to the side and not stay down and get back up and beat this team convincingly. And it looks like the Dons are going to do that because they have a tournament to go out and get into later this year.
Right, well, IPFW came back with a 32-10 run. They were down 14-13 early on. For Ashland, they've got balanced scoring, but when you're only getting single digits from people, you just can't compete. Tom Scholl has 5 points for Ashland. Mark Mueller, 2. Joey Blair with a late basket has 4. Bill Harvey has 5. Chris Royer, 5. And Jason Workman has 3 points. So they're getting looks at the baskets, but 8 of 29 is not going to do it. And they just have to shoot better. They came in tonight shooting 42% from the field, now hitting 28. It's a losing ball club. Those are the rest. That's the ingredients for losing.
Yeah, young basketball team, and we talked about their cycle being the good team, and then you're going to have some down years. Every team, is like that, but it seems like Kentucky Wesleyan never has one of those. But what you have to do is keep that blend of natural freshmen in, some junior college transfers coming in, and then of course you have your natural seniors, juniors and seniors that started out with you that are with you for 3 to 4 years. If you can keep that blend consistent, you're going to have a good basketball team. It's going to be interesting to see what the Dons are going to look like next year. They've had some good players the last few years, and their turnover ratio has been very well. But next year you're losing a lot of seniors, a lot of key seniors, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next year with the Dons.
Okay, getting set for second half action there. Don't know if you can see him there off to the side, but John Hostreiter has his foot in a brace right now on crutches. The senior out of Seymour, Indiana, goes about 6'6". Mentioned earlier, turned an ankle pretty severely. He originally didn't know if he broke it or not. It was that severe. And don't know what his status is for the rest of the season, but Charlie says he's a gamer. He'll be back.
Yes, and the shame of his injury is it happened late in the season, or not. It happened not late, but late enough.
Late enough he can't redshirt.
He cannot get the redshirt year, and he is a senior. Land Bullard, on the other hand, Land sitting right behind us here, will get the redshirt year and will get 2 years to play with the Dons, and he'll be a big asset next year as they lose to seniors. Mentally, he's definitely a senior, but he'll have the 2 years of eligibility still left.
Okay, IPFW opens with the first possession here in the second half inside, ranking. They have him for 6 assists in the first half. Might want to put him out where Walton is right now, working the ball.
And right now he is.
Man defense now. Gibson penetrates. Marcinek getting starting 9 tonight over Walton. Now both are in. Successful combination. Gibson down low. Somehow gets it away. Rankin comes out of there with a board. And Blair takes it away.
The Gibson that you're not used to seeing down there so much was down there. Shane Gibson.
Shane's a little smaller than Sean by a couple pounds. That time Shane gets the block and is going to come out of there with a board. IPFW looking to push it up now. Walton now into the near court. Gibson out on high now over Marcinek. IPFW leading by 21, 45-24. Just over a minute here in the second half.
And moving the ball very well.
Good look that time by Gibson. Waited for Rankin to free himself up. Rankin now has, well, that's his first bucket of the game. I thought he had one earlier.
He had committed himself to dishing the basketball with those 6 assists. Wasn't looking to score.
He missed 3 early shots that time. Has the block, but called for body contact on Joey Blair.
Pretty good defense that time by Doug Rankin, but unfortunately, got him down low. As you see, he stuck the chest out and did initiate that contact. Blair is showing some agility after the play, jumping over the chains out of bounds there, right in front of our cameraman.
Blair hits the first. We'll have another one. Misses the second. That time maybe over the back. Mueller doesn't get a call, but it is IPFW ball. Gibson will inbound. Sean. Ashland with a half-court pressure look now, backing off. Walton now over to Gibson. IPFW can afford to take time off the clock now with a big lead. Work for the good shot in low.
And that's exactly, if you're Coach Andy Piazza, what you want to see and what you're addressing right now coming into this second half. Don't just get into a running game. Again, you want to set some things up and work on some things maybe for future games.
Andre Walton with a weak side board almost gets it to fall. Well, this is a very good opportunity. St. Joseph's is left on the schedule for IPFW, a very dangerous team. They will have them at home in a week or a week and a half from now, I think the 25th.
Yes, and they have some tough games left. St. Joe, as you just mentioned, and they have to go down to Kentucky State, and they had some problems with Kentucky State in the Gates Center here. So that by no means will be an easy game. And Indianapolis, not a bad team, and you also have to contend with them.
Walton hits the first of 2. He now has 11 points, pushes the lead back up to 23.
I think Sean Gibson has led the Dons in rebounding in all but 2 games. And the game, I'm not sure who the other player was, but one game, Andre Walton had 10 rebounds. And he may have tied another player for the lead in another game that Gibson did not lead. So he's a good rebounder. So that was no surprise to see him get that offensive rebound a few moments ago.
That time inside, Tom Scholl now has 7 points. His first bucket of the second half. It's 48-27 IPFW. Marcinek down. He put Walton down on the block that time.
Again, he's no stranger to that block. Huge upper body, very strong young man, and gets a lot of rebounds. Quick jumper, strong upper body.
It's time now outside to Gibson. Works it over to his brother Shane. Back to Sean. Sean with a fake. Wanted to go inside to Rankin that time. Perhaps should have put the ball in the other hand.
Being very unselfish, I think Sean had made up his mind he was going to dish the ball to Rankin, but I think he had a pretty good 8-foot shot right then.
It's time now. Gibson double teamed. Got a kick. Going to reset the clock that time. IPFW ball with a fresh 45. Just over 2.5 minutes into this contest. Ashland coach Terry Wiegand there. And that time it's a foul. Bill Harvey picking up the foul. It's a second Ashland foul. His second as well.
Again, this is the type of game you'll see Coach Yandy Piazza probably institute or work on some things for some future games. When you have the luxury of a 21-point lead in a weaker team like an Ashland, you can work on things and prepare for other teams, like maybe work in a play that you threw in practice. Hey, let's work on that play that we tried out yesterday in practice.
As a first unit in there now, Walton, Marcinek, the two Gibson brothers, and Ranking. Marcinek with a good penetration. Keeping after the ball, but Mueller pulls it down. Now Ashland out on the semi-break, 3-on-3. Ranking that time gets his hand on the ball. Another Ashland turnover.
And an IPFW turnover that time by Andre Walton.
Inside, this is Blair, knocked away by Ranking. Oh, good move by Blair that time. Only a freshman, but can't get it to fall. Shane loads up the three. And Ashland continues to dominate the boards. Still stuck on 48-27. This is Chris Royer inside, knocked away that time by Andre Walton. Ahead to Gibson. 10 points for Gibson now.
Gibson has really become a good finisher. What I mean by finisher, can finish that basket. So a lot of players come away not getting the basket, sometimes getting the foul, but many, many times, more times than not, definitely, Gibson comes away with at least the basket and sometimes the basket and the foul.
Good defense that time by Ranking, pulled off of Mueller. He missed the short jumper. Now Gibson back on the other end. Shane Gibson now has 5 points.
And Walton should get an assist for that. Even though Shane Gibson took a dribble, it led to a basket, the pass from Walton. Although it wasn't a pretty pass, it did lead to a basket.
52-27, the biggest lead of the game for IPFW at 25 points right now. It's Tom Scholl outside. Marcinek's going to pick up a foul. Second team foul on IPFW. Third foul on Marcinek. He's going to come out. Scott Simmons in, and Pat Murphy in for Doug Ranking.
I think Marcinek was a little tired that time and got caught down on the block with Royer and just grabbed him.
Only the second team foul, both teams with 2, and Simmons that time was blocked by Voinovich.
Simmons playing very well, very smooth jump shot. Scott Simmons, reminiscent of Dwayne Shears, very smooth release.
Andre Walton now working on Royer. It's give and go that time. Gibson can't get it to fall. Murphy muscles back inside, whacked by Scholl. Royer comes out of there, elbows flying with the board.
What Gibson did that time was kind of a pick and fade. That pick and fade play on the last IPFW Mastodon possession there, Gibson kind of sets the pick and roll, but he doesn't roll to the basket. He fades away. Kind of Bill Lambier does that for the Detroit Pistons in the pros.
Just floats around outside on the perimeter rather than going to the hole. Still stuck on 52-27 now. 14.5 minutes left. Good look inside. Another assist for Andre Walton. Pat Murphy, the beneficiary.
And Walton creeping up on that 7 assists for the game.
Murphy now has 6. This is Workman. Jason Workman nails a 3. He has 6 for Ashland now, and it's 54-30. Gibson now. Murphy down low, wants to go baseline, spin move, blocked away by Scholl. Walton now to reset.
And that was good initial baseline defense by Blair, not giving up that baseline to Murphy.
He's not a bad looking freshman for Ashland, number 54. Playing out of position. He's not a natural center, but does have some good post play the defensive side.
The team itself does not look bad. It just needs a point guard to get out there and take control.
That time Chris Royer picked up the foul. That's his third. Quickly, Ashland has picked up 5 fouls in this half.
And if you're Coach Terry Wigan, I looked for a junior college point guard and a true freshman point guard to bring in.
Now Walton loose for a 3. Simmons with a board, back up, gets it to fall. Simmons now with 12. He's leading the team. Andre Walton has 11. His lead stretches out to 26. This is Workman inside, and that time Murphy got beat. Had to foul. It's Mark Mueller, number 50. He'll have 2 free throws.
You see on the drive, good drive by Workman, drawing the defense to him and then dishing off to Big Mueller, number 50.
He's one of the few seniors on this Ashland team. 6'4" out of Cincinnati. Is he only? Well, no, there's another senior there. Scholl's a senior.
Shane Gibson having a laugh right there with Coach Andy Piazza.
Hits them both to cut the lead back to 24, 56-32. This is Shane Gibson. Maybe they were talking about a 3 out there. Gibson has 8 now. His second 3 of the contest, and now 59-32. Good ball movement by Ashland now. This is Workman out on top. Winovich wants to feed Scholl. Gibson kicks, reset on the clock.
And they move the ball very well when they don't put it on the floor so much. When they just catch that ball, take a look, do what we call a look in, and then get rid of it if there's nothing there, they do very well.
Have picked up the pace of their offense a little bit here in the second half. Certainly cut down on their turnovers, only have 2 in this second half.
Good ball movement.
It's Scholl out on top now, 20 on the shot clock. Inside, good post-up move by Mueller. Doesn't get it to go. Workman there for the board. Straight up. The foul, I think they're going to take Pat Murphy there with the foul. That'll be his second.
Number 20, Eric Rush, not afraid to get in there and rough it up with the big guys. He's got a couple of offensive rebounds tonight. The last one he shot the ball underneath the basket. Fared a little better this time.
Hits the free throw. We mentioned earlier that Ashland comes in here hitting 55% of their free throw attempts. That was Pat Murphy's 3rd foul. Casey Runyon coming in for Murphy now. Murphy gets a rest.
Runyon, a pretty good looking freshman. I think out of Pierceton, Indiana.
He pulls the board out of there. Now Walton up quickly.
Excuse me, he's out of Fairmont.
Fairmont down there close to Muncie area, I believe.
James Dean stomping grounds.
That's right. Played point guard or guard for Fairmont High. Many people didn't know that.
I didn't. I, for one, did not know that.
Mueller coming out. He picked up his 4th foul there on Gibson. Gibson will be at the line for 2. That is the 16th foul for Ashland. Next one will put IPFW in the bonus. Sean misses the first. Tom Patterson in now for IPFW. As you might see quite a few substitutions here in this last minute, trying different combinations. Andy Piazza trying to get more bench players some time.
And you want to do that. There aren't many times when you play in the GLVC when you can give your bench players significant minutes. So when you get a big lead like this, it's very nice to give those players a reward for working so hard in practice.
Workman from downtown doesn't get the fall. Blair's there for the rebound. All over, bodies on the floor, and Shane Gibson on the floor bleeding. He's going to have to come out.
Doesn't seem to be hurt, but he definitely took a blow that caused his head to start bleeding.
We get that replay up. He's bleeding on the other side, his left eye there. He hit the floor very hard, might have caught an elbow. We're going to have to check the replay out if we can. There's blood on the floor. They're cleaning that up right now. Gibson is going to have to change a jersey and get cleaned up, have the bleeding stopped.
And the new rule instituted this year, any player bleeding has to come out of the game, and if the blood is on the uniform, have to get a new uniform. Happened to Sean, I think, the last home game. He hits the floor so often, it's pretty normal occurrence for him.
Blair at the line. Has one more. 60-33 there.
We can't really see exactly.
Looks like he might have caught a knee that time. We'll have to take another look if we can at that one more time. Blair long on the second. Walton pulls down another board. Walton now over to Simmons inside, Ranking with the ball. Wants to go cross court. Patterson now baseline.
It was a good job for Patterson coming to the basketball.
Quickly turns it over there. IPFW staying away from the turnover most of the first half. Picked up a couple here in the second half. No shot that time. We're going to have an offensive foul, and it's going to result in a 1-and-1 for IPFW. Joey Blair picks up the foul.
I was just about to say, what a good move, but obviously he did something he wasn't supposed to do to get open.
Good move if they don't catch it.
Yeah.
Perhaps a little acting job there.
The flop, it's called. Doug Ranke took the flop.
Misses the 1-and-1, and IPFW in a semi-lull right now with Sean Gibson out after being cut over the left eye. Crowd has quieted down a bit. It's 60-34. IPFW still in the commanding lead. The pace of the game has really slowed. Simmons now with the turnover, gives it right back. This is a 3-on-1. That's got to be an intentional foul. Not called. Patterson wrapping up Blair.
And the only reason it's probably not is because Patterson was in front, did not come from behind on the grab. See, he got around and got out in front on that play, and that's why you don't have the intentional foul.
Good call there.
And he did go for the basketball. Or made it look like he was going for the basketball.
Blair will have two.
The last two free throws by Blair, the crowd has been screaming for air balls, but he's awarded them 2 bricks. As we see Mike Gale attending to senior Sean Gibson. Hopefully Sean will be able to re-enter, but with a commanding lead such as this, you may not want to put Sean back in there.
Blair misses them both. Walton controls the board. Now outside, this is Simmons. Good penetration move, and the up and under goes.
Scott had the three-pointer, but I guess he wanted to get the three-pointer the old conventional way.
It's 14 on the night here. Good body control that time by Simmons. Felt the contact, was able to hang in the air. Scholl picks up his first foul. That's the team 8th foul for Ashland.
Scott, a junior out of Grand Rapids.
Gets the 3-point play. He had a 4-point play earlier. And pushes the lead to 29, biggest of the game, 63-34. Ashland is going to take a timeout. 10:47 left in this second half. And we're going to take a break and be back after this timeout.
jobs, it's top priority with many Hoosiers today. Good jobs with good futures. That's what Ivy Tech in Fort Wayne specializes in, training good people for good jobs. The skilled jobs Indiana's future needs.
Ivy Tech, what Indiana needs to grow. Call for enrollment information.
Well, Ashland has stuck around in this second half.
And, well, Paul, what you have them working on some things specifically, just like the Dons. The scoreboard, of course, the Dons are up by 29 points. But on the other hand, Ashland looking for things where they can improve upon. How did we do in the second half? Did our score, did we have less turnovers? Did we score more points than we did the second half? Did we play better defense? Those types of things. And the Dons are working on similar things. This is what we're going to do against St. Joe. Did we control the tempo of the basketball games? Those are the kinds of things that teams with commanding leads like this and the other team on the losing end are looking at things like that.
They quickly reset the IPFW lineup for you. Scott Simmons is in, number 23. Doug Reike, number 44. Casey Runyon, number 42. Number 20, Andy Liebert is in, as well as Andre Walt, number 10. Been a big lift off the bench tonight. Liebert with a hand on the ball. Ashland now has 20 seconds to work a shot.
Andy Liebert, good defense that time. Andy, one of those players who starts most basketball games but doesn't see a lot of action. Great tip in.
Put back by Joey Blair. This is Walton down low.
Great pass.
Good cut that time by Simmons, and the bucket.
The basket's good by Scott Simmons, and the foul's on 54. Joey Blair, his third, the team's ninth.
Great pass by Walton, and he's slowly but surely creeping up on that 7 assists per contest average that he has. Actually 6.9.
I think he might have it already. Simmons completes. No, he misses. Shouldn't jump the gun like that. Hadn't missed a free throw tonight. Misses a three-point play there. He only has now 14 on the night. Not a bad night for him. This is Blair. Good double down that time by Walton. Oh, good pass that time. Led Simmons just a touch too much.
Tough angle on the pass.
Tom Scholl is back in. John Voinovich is out. Ashland up quickly now. Midway through the second half, 65-36 IPFW. Didn't start out that way. It was 14-13 at one point, Ashland.
That time Simmons gave Scholl a lane to the basket, had him cut off, but then stepped back and gave him a half-step lane to the basket, and Scholl took advantage of it.
This is Runyon now working down low. Whips it back out. Liebert with a shot. Might have been fouled by Royer. He pulls down the board. Up quickly, Scholl now. And Ashland on a mini run. Liebert that time gets the lay-in. Good assist that time by Walton.
It was actually a goaltend, but the basket went in anyway, and the referee didn't even have to call it.
Hand was up around the rim that time for Ashland, and a foul that time on Tom Scholl, forcing the issue. Free throws at the other end.
Actually, that's a player control foul, and free throws probably will not be awarded, or should not be awarded on player control fouls.
Scholl was going to the basket with the ball. It is indeed a player controlled foul. Team 10th foul. IPFW will be in a two-shot situation from here on in. 8:50 left.
And I think I just saw Sean Gibson going to the locker room. That may be it for the All-American candidate out of Lanes. And I just got word from our producer Greg Smith. Sean will be leaving the Hilliard Gate Sports Center to receive stitches for a cut over his left eye.
In and out that time by Runyon. Blair pulls down the board.
I tell you what, if this is a close game, I bet he's out there with the butterfly on. Sean's that kind of competitor. But in this kind of contest, I'm sure his parents, as well as Coach Andy Piazza, advised him to go get stitches.
That time we had a little altercation. That time Bill Harvey and Shane Gibson had words for each other. Harvey picked up a foul. We will have free throws this time. Both players have seemed to calm down a little bit.
Shane Gibson will go to the line, shoot 2.
Scholl, one of the few seniors on the Ashland team, stepped in to make peace. As senior, and I'm sure he's a captain, should do.
Gibson now on the line, has 2. Has 8 points in the contest, misses the first, will have another.
Well, I guess now there's no confusing the Gibsons right now.
Gets the second, 9 points in the contest, a 28-point lead, 68-49. Ashland keeps sticking around. This is Harvey this time.
Good move to the left hand that time by Harvey.
68-42 IPFW. Now on a 3 this time by Lieber.
Andy's second basket tonight, both well behind the 19-foot arc. 19-foot 2-inch, I think.
That time Lieber comes up with a foul, and 5 IPFW players have scored from beyond the 3-point stripe tonight. Lieber picks up his first foul. That's going to put Ashland in the bonus. Jason Workman will have 2.
We talked a little bit about how young this Ashland team is. On the other hand, the Mastodons have 8 seniors. Count them, 8 seniors, and I think 3 juniors on the team. And of course, you have Land Bullard, who's not playing this year anymore. He has 2 years left, but in terms of experience and age and being around mentally, learning the basketball game, he'll be a 5th-year senior with 2 years left to play.
So it will be a young IPFW team, and there's one of the freshmen, Casey Runyon. Will get extended playing time next season.
And 5th-year seniors with 2 years to play means, in this case, Land left the team and then came back. That's how he has 5 years with 2 to play.
Walton all the way, coast to coast. Good decision by Walton. It is now a 32-point lead, the biggest of the game, 75-43. Walton with a steal now. Looking to reset. Gibson now back to Walton. Runyon now on baseline. Inside Ranking. Had a good matchup that time. Walton strokes the 3. And Workman comes out of there with a board. Now to Blair. Blair wants to run a little point. And maybe shouldn't do that too often.
A lot of times you see big men getting the ball and wanting to get out on the break. That time Blair gives it back to, in this case, back to number 20. Number 30, Workman. He should have given it right back to Workman and then fill the lane.
This is Liebert. Workman got away with a hole. Liebert off the glass. 77-43. All of a sudden, the second team of IPFW putting points on the board.
Liebert playing very well tonight.
This is Harvey, one to go inside of Mueller. Another turnover for Ashland. Strong game tonight by IPFW. Gibson with the turnover there. Harvey pushing the issue now.
Runyon with another steal, his second in as many times down the court.
This is Walton now over to Murphy. Going to work the clock a little bit this trip down. Side, this is Gibson. In and out. Royer pulls down the rebound. And Ashland's still looking to push the ball up the court. Harvey now, good ball fake, steps inside. That's a 2, doesn't go.
Good looking shot, though. Good fake and good shot by Harvey. Just didn't go down for him.
A smart move this time by Andre Walton. Pulling the ball out. This is Liebert, wide open, 3 on the way, doesn't go. Shane Gibson picks up the foul. Bill Harvey will go down at the other end and shoot a 1-and-1.
Jeff Smithy seeing his first action. Jeff Smithy, a fine example of that, of what I said Andy Liebert told me last game. People accepting roles. Jeff Smithy for all of 2.5 years has been a starter for this Mastodon team. Come in this year and has accepted the role. His freshman year started just about every game. Sophomore year started a little bit over half, and this year saw very limited action and has accepted that role. And those are the kinds of players that make teams winners.
Is now Simmons loading up a 3. Hits another one. Simmons, the leading scorer tonight. I have him with 17.
And he shoots the ball so well.
Smithy almost came up with a turnover. Good backdoor cut that time.
That time he lost his man on the defensive end.
Walton now over the timeline. Over to Simmons. Simmons feels it right now, 19. 82-45. 4:30 left in this Great Lakes Valley Conference game, and Smithy's going to pick up a foul. Russ Marcinek getting set to come in for IPFW, as Tim Reinhart coming in for Ashland.
Paul, we can see Sean Gibson shaking hands with each and every one of the Mastodon players before he goes to get his stitches.
Has a Michigan sweatshirt on and red sweatpants, sending some mixed signals about tomorrow's big Big 10 or Big 11 matchup.
Sean, now he goes and shakes hands with the Ashland players. Is he campaigning for votes for All-American status or what?
I'm not going to say about that. I think he's done a lot of talking on the court as well, but that's a class move by Sean. He was a little upset when he went down.
Very classy play right there. Great player on and off the court. Does well in the classroom also.
This is Casey Runyon with a turnaround.
It's a good shot by Casey that time.
84-46, just over 4 to go. They worked that play before. Reverse goes for Harvey this time. Marcinek wanted cutting Simmons that time. Simmons didn't cut. Now back the other way. Harvey loading up. Can't get it to fall. Jeff Smithy touched it last. It will be Ashland ball out of bounds.
Harvey, not a bad looking ball player. I like Royer. I like Harvey, and I also like the big fella, Blair.
Well, all 3 of those players will be back next year, provided they want to stay around and can do it academically. Blair is a freshman. Harvey and Royer are both juniors. Harvey working again backdoor, this time on Martin. 3rd time they've worked that in recent trips.
And the crowd favorite, Chad North. Chad, a crowd favorite here, as you see in the applaud.
Pat Murphy coming out, North coming in. Harvey at the line now. IPFW is over the 10 foul limit.
It's about that time to name our Dandy Don player of the game, and my vote.
It's got to be a strong second half there for Simmons.
My vote goes to Scott Simmons.
has 19 on the night. Played only 10 minutes in the first half. That time Workman's going to pick up a foul on the baseline.
Actually, that's number 20, Eric Rush.
Eric Rush.
A little bit too aggressive that time against Jeff Smithy.
Smithy will be at the line for 2.
Somewhat of a mystery this year after seeing him get all that playing time in years past. But again, the true person and gentleman and team player that he is has accepted that role very well.
He tries to get on the board tonight with his first point. He does. 85-50 now. Just under 3.5 to go here. IPFW will move to 9-3 in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Time Rush bricks one. 17. Runyon pulls down the board. That time Runyon should have given up the ball. Rush steps in front and gets the layup.
There's another example. Any young big men or inside players out there, give that ball up early, create the lane, and get it to the people who are on the team to handle the basketball.
That's one quick way to get a hook. Coaches do not appreciate that.
Another foul by Rush on Jeff Smithy. Too aggressive again. And with that last free throw that Jeff Smithy made coming into the basketball game tonight, he needed 1 point to reach the 400 mark, and he's got it. Going for numbers 401 and 402.
I think Coach Ashland coach Terry Wygand, though, will not fault Rush for making that foul. He's being aggressive, but he's using the baseline as well. He's doing it in a good spot. They've got to get turnovers. So, you know, that type of foul, if there ever can be an acceptable foul, is one.
Yeah, and what you say is, you know, hey, Eric, good defense, great aggressiveness, but keep the chest in. And that's what happened both these times, 2 times down the court. He stuck the chest out and pushed Smithy backwards.
Smithy now with his 3rd point of the evening.
And 402 for a career.
Pushes the lead back up to 35, 87-52. Royer now working the ball outside. Inside, that's Tom Scholl. He's been pretty quiet tonight.
Quietly surpasses average.
Is now Marcinick out on top. Leaves it for Runyon. Martin, this is Chad North. Smithy out of control on the baseline, turns it over. Here's Royer, 2-on-1.
Basket by Chris Royer.
87-56 now, 2 minutes left. Play getting a little ragged here in the late going. This is North. Has a good look at the basket, got tipped from behind.
And the crowd would like nothing more than to see North score tonight.
Goes at 6'9" and 195.
Kind of a crowd favorite like Chuck Nevitt was for so many years with the Lakers. The Lakers in Houston, the Chicago Bulls,
Detroit.
Sacramento, Detroit. Very well traveled, Chuck Nevitt.
Chuck Nevitt, 7'5", drew a paycheck for many years in the NBA because of that size.
And he has a couple of things that he can put on his fingers that we can't do. He has some NBA championship rings he can put on those fingers from the Lakers in the middle 80s.
Like Eric Rush there caught an elbow in the mouth. A little woozy right now. We're going to have a substitution. John Voinovich coming in now for Ashland.
In the game for Ashland, number 44, John Diedincek. He replaces Eric Rush.
Minute 35 to play here. Non-dramatic minute 35, I might add.
Been pretty quiet here in the second half. 45-24 in the first half, IPFW. Just basically in control once they started getting the transition buckets and stepping in front of Ashland passing lanes. This time North comes out of there with a board.
And you can hear the crowd erupt every time the big fella out of Bishop Luers does something well.
Smithy loading a three, doesn't go. Runyon there with good position, gets the putback.
Runyon's going to be a good player here for IPFW. Good looking inside player.
6'7" and only a freshman. Now Ashland, Scholl now wants to go to Blair. Blair down on the baseline, got away with the travel, but gets it to fall.
Basket by Joey Blair.
Again, a key with Blair. If he works hard this summer, comes back in shape next year for these Ashland Eagles, he's going to be a force on the inside in the GLVC.
Well, you look at him, he's 6'6", but he is 235. Throwing a little bit of that weight around down the low post.
And he's built for the low post.
Now 89-59, under a minute to go. IPFW will remain in second place after tonight's action, going 9-3.
And they still have not lost a game here at the Gate Center. Or was the game? No, they still have not.
Time Blair fouled underneath. I believe that's right. I know 3 of their losses were on the road.
Well, it all depends on if the game Wednesday was here.
I believe that was at Finley.
Yes. So still unbeaten here at the Don Dome, formerly known as the Hilliard Gate Sports Center.
We're getting set to close this one out. Blair misses the first of 2. Foul was on Runyon, his second. A good comeback performance tonight for IPFW. They were losers to Finley, an NAIA Division II team, traditionally strong team. Earlier this week, a 13-point loss. So a good comeback win. Blair was on the floor. Great effort by Blair. Still hustling with a few seconds remaining. Martin with a good hustle play.
And Paul, that loss we hope does not hurt their chances to get into the NCAA Division II tournament. But to dispel all of that, all they have to do is win the conference outright. Then we don't even have to answer what that loss means.
Martin now wants to beat the clock. 2 seconds. Gets it knocked away. The final put it in the books. 89-60. IPFW 17-4 now, 9-3 in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Ashland falls to 3-18 and 1-11 in conference play.
And our Dandy Don player of the game, Scott Simmons, the junior out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Played well tonight, had him unofficially for 19 points. Coming off the bench in the first half, 10 points in the first 10 minutes. Stroked a couple of 3-pointers, had a 4-point play as well. Solid overall game for Scott.
And we'll be down in a few moments, or I will be down in a few moments, chatting with Mr. Simmons. Again, our Dandy Don player of the game as the IPFW Mastodons shellac the Ashland Eagles 89-60 here at the Hilliard Gate Sports Center.
This is just one of the many parts you can play as a young Red Cross volunteer. Volunteer and play your part.
Talk about unusual. How often do you see transparent televisions?
Americans have more money to spend on leisure activities than ever before.
When possible, children should trick or treat during daylight hours and be accompanied by at least one adult.
A boat, archaeologists believe, is from the time Jesus and his disciples fished on the Galilee.
For best results, fertilize your lawn when it is actively growing.
Many people suffer from allergies. Few understand them.
The tragedy of child abuse takes many forms, from verbal assaults to hurtful blows. But it is preventable, and we all have a role to play. If you know of a parent having difficulty, reach out, sit down and talk. And if you're having difficulty, get help for yourself. Talk to a friend. Sign up for a parenting class. Take time out. Don't take it out on your child.
Contact the National Committee for Prevention of Child Abuse.
I want to be a doctor, a judge, electrical engineer, a chemist, a dentist.
The American dream is alive, nurtured in part by the United Negro College Fund. The fund reaches out to deserving students with a quality education, an education that turns wonderful young dreams into realities.
I want to be president.
And you'll be tough to beat.
Please support the United Negro College Fund.
Back at the Hilliard Gate Sports Center for the post-game show here. IPFW winners tonight, 89-60 over Ashland. IPFW moves to 9-3 in conference play overall with that win. Well, we at IPFW are pleased to be able to bring you a cablecast of NCAA athletic competition. We hope you enjoyed the show and the excitement of intercollegiate sports from IPFW. To provide for such programs, we need your support. With the help of many volunteers, we are able to produce these programs at a relatively low cost. Your contribution will help defray any production costs not covered by the Channel 6 budget. College Cable Access Center invites you to invest in quality programming by sending your contribution to, you see there on the screen, Channel 6 at IPFW, 2101 Coliseum Boulevard East, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46805. And you make your check out to Indiana Purdue Foundation, which you see there designated for College Cable Access Athletics. Well, a big win tonight, and Scott Simmons a big part of it. This throw down to the floor, and Charlie Washington with the Dandy Don player of the game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Charles Washington here with our Dandy Don player of the game, Scott Simmons, a junior out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Scott, why don't we go back a little further? Beginning of the season, junior college player, how did you think you would fit in here with the Dons? And you've done so extremely well, I might add.
Well, thank you. I knew that coming in here I would get a lot of playing time because of the system we have and the wings leaving last year. And I didn't know, exactly my role, but I think I found it now.
And you said you found that role. Why don't you explain to us a little bit what exactly do you feel is your role here and how are you feeling it?
Well, I think it's not so much to score points or, it is to take care of the ball and come in and hustle and just do the little things to help my team out.
Well, you mentioned that your role is not so much to score, but in the last 7, 8, 9 games, you've been doing a lot of it, including tonight, 19 unofficial points. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I always felt that I could take off one of these games for a big scoring game, but as long as I try not to force it, I'm all right.
Okay. Now, you might not want to talk so much about this, but Wednesday night, a very disappointing, I'm sure, loss against a Findlay team, a strong Findlay team. Well, fans at home might want to know that was just not any old NAI team and a very tough team.
Oh, they're a very athletic team. They had some junior college transfers, and they could sky. They were really athletic. They were home. They were pumped. They wanted to beat us because we're a good Division II team.
Sure.
Gives them bonus points for going into their tournament, and they were ready for us, and we weren't.
Well, a big win coming off a loss, and I'm sure the Dons are looking forward to their next game, back to the conference, and let's grab a hold of that conference and win so we don't even have to worry about those rulers telling us we're not in. We win it outright, we're in.
Right. Let's do it.
Good luck to you the rest of the year and the rest of the IPFW Mastodons, and tell Sean Gibson to take care of himself.
All right.
And now back to you, Paul.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. IPFW one more time a winner, 89-60 tonight. They remain in second place in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, tied with Kentucky Wesleyan at 9-3. Southern Indiana is 10-2 on top of the conference. Those two teams will meet each other. As we mentioned earlier, IPFW looking for an NCAA Division II bid. The winner of the conference will get a bid. There are also 16 at-large bids, so a second-place finish would be a pretty solid footing for IPFW. Good win tonight off a loss to Findlay. Scott Simmons, a leading scorer with 19. And we'd like to take this time to thank the Channel 6 volunteer crew and the Learning Resource Center at IPFW for their contributions to this live production of our basketball game this evening. This College Cable Access Sports presentation is underwritten in part by a grant from Cable Access Incorporated of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And the telecast of this sporting event is copyrighted and is the sole property of College Cable Access Center and IPFW. Unauthorized copying, exhibition, retransmission, or rebroadcast or the use of this event without express written consent is strictly prohibited. Okay, you know the drill. I'm Paul Farbaugh for Charlie Washington. IPFW 8960 winners. Good night.